absolutely have confidence and a great understanding of what you're dealing with here with the predators on the internet. And remember, all of these were from last year. This is around
Yeah.
the time of Richard Allen's trial and the pretrial hearings. This is not from 10 or 20 years ago.
You know, when they were talking about the different discords and stuff, it was a little bit of PTSD, not the same subject, but Prof, you and I have been in a bunch of different discords and had our own discords and all that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
you can see the people that we know, I use that lightly, um, the same patterns of behavior. Now, it wasn't CSAM, but the same kind of bullying, the same kind of talk, and the private groups, and the let's get more private, and moving discussions here and there. That was a lot that same thing I saw in the discords about Delphi with certain creators, or just not everybody was a creator. Some people were just people, with their discords that were in the chat that we all knew. And I would say that part of my life, when I was in all the discords, that was pretty it was pretty stressful. It was pretty traumatic at times. I know you'd say the same. I know what you caught all kind of crap on Discord.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, that's
but
that's that's a good point you're making. The MOs are the same. The modus operandi. Like there's only one way
yeah.
this is done on the internet, and it's by hiding behind fake accounts and many alt accounts.
Mhm.
It's by these private groups that are isolated little pockets, and like you say, various levels of privacy that they believe they have.
Yeah.
And it's easy to terrorize people behind fake accounts when
Right.
you're not showing your identity and your location. And it's part of the reason we need to be showing this and discussing it, because 764 might be one extreme example, but
Mhm.
there's a whole panorama of these types of organizations, and this I call it terrorism. It's cyber terrorism.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And, you know, I think what people don't understand is when you are in a Discord and you're very active in that Discord, yes, people use all kind of alt names, and then, they would put on here, "Oh, this is actually so and so. I'm using this name." So, you have to, you're trying to remember all these names, but the thing of it is it's very real. The conversation and the people, when you are talking to people, it's like having a text message fight with somebody. You know what I'm saying? So if you've never been in a Discord, then that's the closest thing to equate it to, is all of a sudden being in a group text where everybody is attacking you, because
Hmm.
these are people that you talk to every day. And it's not just, I mean, if you hit the Discord and it was just a big mess, you just nope right out of there. But they draw you in. It's funny memes, how you doing, I'm having my coffee. And so, like, it's like this huge group chat, and that's how you kind of get sucked into it, because you feel like you get to know some of the people in your chat behind the scenes, right? Even though they're using a name, it's like you kind of feel like you get to know them, and it kind of becomes a community until the day that you are attacked relentlessly. Might start with a little bit of discourse about this and that, a little bit of I don't agree, with this, and it's civil, and you can have a discussion, and then all of a sudden you find yourself attacked by all these people. And I can see where, if you're a young person and you get involved in some of this kind of stuff, at first, like, you don't want to leave the community, because you
Hmm.
have friends, right? Friends
Hmm.
who care about you and tell you good morning, how you doing, and you feel like they're your peers. And honestly, it could be anybody behind that keyboard,
Hmm.
but it doesn't feel like it, right? Wouldn't you
Especially
say
though,
that?
yeah, the
Because
ones you've never FaceTime, you don't know who the hell you're dealing with. Hmm.
exactly. And then all of a sudden, you're being attacked, and at first you're like, you don't want to leave your happy little place, your
Hmm.
happy little Discord, because then all of a sudden it's like you lost all your friend group, even though always had friends on the outside, like in real life. But it does get to you. It can mess with your psyche.
Hmm.
And of course, it can be hurtful, and then you want to keep the peace, but then there comes a point where you're just like, you know what, y'all are people behind a screen. I'm walking out my door and you're not going to be there, so
Yeah. I'll reach
get
through
out.
and beat the shit out you motherfuckers. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but and you know what's funny? Like I've realized, like because I noticed a particular tactic is that they love to do it as a group. So they'll come in and
Hmm.
they'll beat you as a group. And I realize now because I had people come to me and to say, Prof, they call that jumping. So these
Yeah.
people who are doing this, they are very well aware that they're coming in 8 or 12 or 15 deep and they're going to all pile on one person.
Hmm.
And you only got to get jumped once in that way to know that it's not good. And they have seriously attempted to make people unalive themselves. When I say this is not a joke. Even in Delphi, I guarantee fucking to you, there have been several serious attempts to cause people to do self-harm by this sort of behavior in the discords and even in the live chats and whatnot. Um,
Yeah.
because they don't have, us people like us, Silky, we stand on our own. We're
Hmm.
independents. We
Right.
stand on a soapbox boldly and loudly, and we can speak for ourselves. But these people are not like that. They have to
Yeah.
come 15 deep all at
Right.
once because they only roll as a crew because they don't have valid arguments. You know. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I remember, sorry, I'm trying to let everybody know that I think it's okay. Um, I remember being in a Discord, and I couldn't even tell you whose it was now. I think I would know, but I'm not going to say. Um, and everybody was so friendly with you, Prof, when you first started your channel, even before. Everybody was like, "Yeah, remember when everybody was let me try to do this without naming names. I don't play that game. There was a certain creator who was around for a hot minute, and I was in his Discord. I didn't know you, but you were in his Discord. And so, everybody was like hyping you up saying, "Oh yeah, the Prof, blah blah blah." And so then you started your channel. And so I jumped in your Discord cuz this first creator said, "Hey, join Prof's Discord." So I did. And so that's how it kind of grows, and everybody was so very supportive of you right in the beginning. And then all of a sudden, I get on Discord one day and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so there was wars. And then I remember being in Discord groups that would say, okay, we're going to go into Prof's Live and we're going to change our names to blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it was a theme. I'm sure you remember those days. And I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with these people? But,
because
I'm
I
just
said
sitting there
the
as the
wrong
observer.
thing. Yeah,
Hmm?
I participated in unapproved speech, and the second you do that, you become a target in this. I know.
Yes.
I think it's true crime in general, but in Delphi for sure, Delphi
Yes.
is plagued with it. We have a plague.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was just, I think that was the most eye opening thing for me. I'm like, these are grown adults, I'm assuming, right? And I'm like, what are they doing? Like, why would you go into somebody's live stream and just troll them? Like, it didn't make any sense to me. And I clearly saw how it was, quickly progressing from, oh, we love Prof, we support Prof, to Prof is the devil, let's troll him. And I sat by on the sidelines because I'm just sitting there with my popcorn observing humans, because I knew you already knew, because you already had insiders in that group that were telling you what was going on. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here with my popcorn and observe humans going down the toilet, you know? So I
And you
did it.
would
I did it
think
for a
that
while.
you would
What?
think that by now it'd be done. It's like, don't you realize I'm not going anywhere?
Yeah.
2 years later, but no,
Yeah.
still going.
Yeah. But it put me in a really bad position because I wanted to know what was going on, what their game plan was, but I didn't want to participate. So, you're balancing that until the day that I absolutely couldn't. And even before I kind of broke off with the troll farm, I was very unhappy with the way things were going in Discord, and I noped out of all the Discords. I was just like, I'm done. I even shut my own down, and I'm like, I'm
Me
done with
too.
this.
Me too.
People
I'm
are
like, I'm out.
insane.
This shit is chaos. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because you really just want to have. It's a nice place. If Discord could be, if you could have a good group of people in there, it's great. It's great to have a community where you do say, "Hey, good morning," how's your coffee, whatever, and it's just like a community of people, and you don't have to agree on everything, but you don't disrespect other people's opinions. I mean, and if Discord were used that way, it would be a great community, but
Hmm.
inevitably some goofball comes in there and causes a ruckus and everything, and then it just goes down the toilet. But I don't think that people really understand all the means of ways that we can be harassed. So I still have a couple of people that message me on Discord, and there's some friends from the very beginning, and we're not in a group. Like they just send me a message on Discord, "Hey, how you doing?" And that's great. Um, but it's not an open Discord, so
It's
uh,
such a shame because it, like you say, it would be valuable. It would be nice, but you just
yeah,
can't have nice things.
we can't. This is why we can't
Apparently,
have nice things.
stealth.
You You trolls. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine, Prof? Of it just because it's hard when you have so many people that you want to reach out to, and I think about what my schedule is between my two channels and between my job and everything that's going
Lord,
on.
who has time for
It's like
that? Yeah.
I can't. I can't message you every day and low light and some of these other people and say, "Hey, how you go? How's it going?" But when you're in a Discord, somebody else like you can keep up with people
Hmm.
so easily. And it would be nice if, we were closer, we're able to contact, but you're not. And so it's like, but you can't have a Discord. You just can't. Not unless you like drama, and I do not. I have enough drama.
No, I'm done with it. I mean, dude, the last thing I need. But you're right. I mean, you and I. So like, if I text or call you once a week or every 2 weeks, that's a
Hmm.
lot
Yeah, right.
because we're
Right.
so busy. But
Exactly. Yeah. And
yeah,
it's
I mean, it's something, man.
I mean, I wish I could just like handpick people and say, okay, you only, y'all are allowed in this Discord. And let's just, because you don't have to tell every single person. It's like you're telling all the people, what's going on. You don't have to text five people and say, hey,
Hmm.
it's like it's all there. And I have been in some Discord communities that were so nice. Let me just say this: it was not a Delphi uh, Discord. Okay, had nothing to do with Delphi. We didn't talk about Delphi at all. But it was another Discord, and when I left that Discord, it was hard because I missed the people that I talked to every single day.
Hmm.
And they weren't even in my chats. Okay, this didn't even have anything to do with my channel. I mean, they knew my channel, but you know what I'm saying? It was just nice. And but yeah, the so based on even as an adult, and like you said, we're very independent, strong-minded, strong-willed people who really don't care what other people think. Um it's like, well, I'm at the age where I can do that. But if I were a teenager, a young teenager or a preteen or whatever, or even an older teenager, I was so naive back in those days. And I I can't imagine like I can see it happening so easy to these young people. You get sucked into a group like this, and then all of a sudden you're
I can't
terrorized and you
imagine.
don't know how to get out.
I'm glad you brought that point up because we might have almost missed that point. But thinking about these children or these child victims, I mean, I remember being in middle school and high school, and oh, just imagine, like you say, because you're desiring acceptance, you're desiring boyfriends and girlfriends and all of this stuff, and it's all new. So just imagine the next level of complexity these days with
Yeah,
children are having to navigate. That's why they're child victims. Like
yeah.
they guarantee you what we just read through. Not one of those was a child. Okay, these are all adults
Mhm.
perpetrating crimes against the children.
Right.
It's not other children. So
I, I
you know,
I am horrified to think what it would have been for me if there had been discords and social media when I was in high school, because it started in middle school, but really in high school I moved from Alabama to Virginia, which is where I graduated. And I like I had lived in Alabama. I was all full of this culture. And even though Virginia is considered a southern state, I assure you it is not a southern state. Not even close. And I didn't look like anybody. I didn't talk like anybody. And I mean, all of a sudden, I was the outsider. And instead of being embraced, I was ostracized. And so, I mean, I went through 4 years of hell in high school. My car was vandalized. I had death threats. And I'll tell you why. Because I didn't conform. When I got up there in ninth grade, so how old are you? You're younger, right? And so oh, sorry, my TV is on and they were playing a loud commercial. But anyway, I looked at them and I thought, I don't want to look like you. I don't want to act like you. I don't like y'all. But even at that, I mean, that's where I learned, okay, you're going to have to figure out who you are and stand on it. And I did. So I learned how to, be happy um with myself, and like I really don't care what y'all think. But see, I didn't have social media as
mhm.
well, cuz can you imagine somebody, I think about it, somebody like me who was already, going against the the what is it? Going against the flow. Um I would have been just annihilated on social media had it been a thing. And I mean, but that's how I survived Delphi. Didn't know it was setting me up for later in life.
Look, Greenlee says, imagine being poor and someone offering you $500 for whatever, and there's someone you like or know at school. This is how it starts, or it's worse. I've seen siblings sell their younger siblings on these platforms. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. It looks like Silky might have had to dip again, but yeah.
Now I'm here. I was trying to turn my TV off because the weather stations went off. I guess we're safe. So I can hear it. It's distracted me. But yeah, I see. Yeah, somebody offering you $500, especially when the minimum wage is, what is it, 750? I don't even know. I mean, how many hours do you have to work for $500? Can you imagine somebody just coming and, you know, I mean, to me, $500 is not. I mean, it's nice, but it's not going to make or break me. But at that age, it does. You know. Um, I don't know. It's so sad that we have taken something that could be a very beautiful thing as social
Hmm.
media and really just rammed it down the toilet.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yep. And this is where this, like, these law enforcement got to catch up with this, because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact is that the crime has moved from the street and has embraced these uh, internet pathways, because I've said before to people, the internet makes everything easy. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I got to pay my rent. Click, 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 paid. You
Yeah.
know, I got to order some Walmart items. Click, 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 and all I got to do is go pick them up, son. So it's like you can do anything on that internet, and it makes everything so much easier. So you have to realize that criminals are going to do the same thing. Like,
Right.
internet makes things easier and facilitates things. So this is why we got a problem here.
Yeah. And I think well, they're catching up a little bit, but I think for years, law enforcement was woefully behind the times and not looking, strongly. I think about when was it that I first heard about Facebook? It was like in 2003 or something like that, or was it MySpace? Maybe it was MySpace. I had one of those too. But you know, it was such a weird thing. I don't think that people really understood how what was going on, because I mean now they're catching up a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, think how many people were bullied and manipulated. Because again, this is horrific, and as horrific as it was that Prof was reading out, imagine this is going on, and even worse. Okay, I have read worse. Believe me. Uh, it's going on such a massive scale. We're looking at one case that, and we're horrified. But y'all, this is nothing. This is nothing.
Tip
And
of
the
an
depths that
iceberg.
people go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I I'm glad to see that Pam Bondi and Cash Patel are doing something about this, but I mean, I think we would be appalled and shocked, Prof, if we knew how long social media has actually been, and the internet, even pre what we know as internet. Um, how many things? I mean, and I say that because I read a story about, oh my gosh, this must have been in the early 90s when they were just trying to connect. There wasn't browsers. Did you ever have, what was that one? It had it was called Navigator. What was it? So I don't even know
Mhm.
who made it. I think that was my first browser. And it
Netscape.
had,
Netscape.
yes, the Navigator one.
Oh Lord, we're showing our age.
I know, right? Because I had that browser and I didn't understand that you had to have a browser. Like, I'm like, I don't know how any of this works, right? But I read a story about how on some kind of posting board that was out there before you had browsers, where somebody was testing, if I put this out here, wherever this is in cyberspace, if anybody will read it. So somebody posted they were selling like a kitchen table or something. And they posted it on there. Few days pass and all of a sudden they get an offer from somebody in another country, like way across the world. And that is when they realized, "Oh my god, this is amazing that you can connect like this." And of course, right after that you had, millions of people jumping on this world wide web of like, what is it? I was, one of those first ones, but I bet you that the trafficking started before Navigator. Even in
Mhm.
those weird circles. Like, if I can post my table that I'm trying to sell in the US and somebody over in, I don't know, New Zealand or somewhere answers the ad, I mean, bingo. All of a sudden, you've got a connection. And people who are horrible excuses for humans, they're going to jump on that just like you and I jump on. We're trying to do something good.
Mhm.
And just think how many years and how much trafficking could have been done all those years when we were just learning about what's an IM, what's an instant message, what's that? You know, I remember when Yahoo had chat rooms. And I didn't even understand. I'd jump in them and I'm like, I don't even know what these people are talking about. how does this work? Um, but yeah, it's a huge problem, and I hope that this case. I'm so glad that you talked about it, as horrific as it is, because like people, you need to be aware.
Well, like, yeah, that's what gets me is this was last year. This is
And I
not
didn't know.
15 years or 5 years ago. While we were watching trial, this shit was happening.
Yeah. And back when I started this channel, um there is a woman, and I know probably some of y'all listen to her. I have not listened, and I feel really kind of bad because I used to follow her. But it's Justice Served Daily, and she is always talking about missing kids and all the different ways that this happens, but specifically in Indiana. And the things that you learn, and I learned just from watching a little bit of her stuff. It's like it's horrible. It's horrible. Um, I don't know. Let's see. I was trying to read some of this stuff. Let's see what chat is saying. I hate that I missed it. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch my my own live to see what I missed during that. What was I gone? About 45 minutes? It was a while.
And that was a lot to read through, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yes. Oh, and we hadn't even talked about the dark web, right?
I
Can
think
you
like
imagine?
focusing on how they target the vulnerable. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a very big point is that they're constantly shifting identities and locales, and they love targeting the vulnerable. So there's
Mm-hmm.
targeting, layer one. There is targeting. It's
Yeah.
never random. There's targeting. There's baiting, and then they look for the vulnerable. They look for the easy to get to.
Right. I mean, can you imagine being a teenager that you really don't know, your body's going crazy and you're changing so much and now you're depressed or whatever. And can you imagine being a teenager in that situation, and then all of a sudden you get a message from somebody on whatever media platform you're on, and they're like, "Hey, you sounded sad today. Do you need to talk?" All of a sudden you've got a friendly ear. And I mean, when you groom somebody, it can take, it's not just days. I mean, I guess for some people it is. Um but they'll put in weeks, months, whatever to groom you. And so you think these kids think they have a friend. And I think also about, I know maybe some of y'all have watched these shows that have these women, older women who should have sense, giving all their money to these online romance people, right? Um, it's like, and I tell you what, it's interesting because if you are on Facebook and you have a relationship status change, y'all in the comments in the chat, you've probably seen this. If you put that you're divorced or that you broke, you're single all of a sudden, you have, or at least this has been my experience, you have a plethora of fake, and I know they're fake accounts, and they message you like all of a sudden there you are. And I thought, when I went through my divorce, I thought, this is, I could see right through it, but I'm not naive anymore. Way more naive than I want to be still, but I would see these people saying, just reaching out, wanting to friend request me, and I'm thinking, what, do you think that I'm sitting at home crying because of this status change? I'm like, do you think I'm that dumb that I'm going to answer these? I'm an engineer in, the UK. And, I'm like, yeah, sure you are. Sure you are, buddy. Um, Even then, but, you see from the kids angle, but, Prof, a lot of people, even our age and even like older, like giving away their life savings to these romance scammers. It's the same thing. It's the vulnerability and them trying to hit a place that makes you feel good about yourself, or accepted or whatever. And it's just, I mean, come on. Um, I don't know how to tell people how to be safe. I mean, I want to say use common sense, but I guess when you're that emotionally vulnerable, you want to believe it. I don't know. Have you?
Well, think about it coming how it was. I know we were going to talk about this tonight. Is kind of maybe a good way to go from here. Is like think about it how coming into YouTube, because I know the way I did it, I was totally unprepared because I came in naive like an idiot.
Me
So
too.
I think, oh, well, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. Next thing I know, death threats, shit arriving at my home, going after my children, calling
Hmm.
my police, calling my former employees, getting shit at the doorstep. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like, and same deal.
Hmm.
You've received the same.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's nuts because I came into this. You may remember, like I started off with a Discord. I didn't have a channel. And I
hmm.
just had a Discord to talk to people about the case.
Right.
Next thing you knew, I thought, oh, I'll do a channel and talk with my Discord members about the case. Next thing you know, it's a total shitstorm, and your life's been turned upside down, and you're being terrorized by anonymous accounts on the internet. And it takes the
Yeah.
longest to get through. Like I say, uh, I know that there have been people who have done self harm because of this type of stuff.
Oh
I
yeah.
guarantee you, because it has an emotional and a psychological effect when you're terrorizing this way.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say when I said earlier when we started, I wanted to have a discussion because and I know like there's some questions. I think because I want to compare notes, I think we're very similar in the way that we think about things and the way that I mean, you are very overtly I don't care. I try to keep it silky southern, but when I say I don't care, I mean I don't care. You don't like me? Good. Go watch somebody else. I mean,
Bye.
that's fine. You know,
Surely you'll like somebody else. The internet's big.
okay, go harass them. I dearly, dearly love my regulars and my chat and my subscribers. They're awesome and amazing. But how do you think? And I know we've gone through this Discord and we've talked about that, but in general, how has Delphi slash YouTube, whatever, how has it changed you or has it changed you as a person?
Yes, it's made me far more pessimistic,
Mhm.
far more guarded. Uh, I like people less than I used to, and it's
Yeah.
been pretty bad. And I also think I'm pretty mean with people as opposed to before. Like I've noticed, I tend to be pretty quick to respond negatively with people. And I know a lot of people who know me, they'll agree with that. So like, Prof, you'll bite a head off in a minute. It's like, yeah, we'll let you get tormented for 2 years by dumbasses on the internet and see how nice you are to every account.
It's true. It's true. I just, that's why I cover a lot of other stuff as well. Nothing as deeply as Delphi, but yeah, I think what I didn't realize, and unfortunately, this is not just from YouTube. This is also even spilled over into my personal life. Had some stuff lately, like a lot of upheaval at work, and a lot of people that it's like I thought I knew them. You think you know somebody, and then you're like, I didn't know them at all. It, hours and hours and hours and hours spent with somebody, and I did not know them. Um, but and that's kind of been the theme this past year, unfortunately. But I think that's the thing. Um, I mean, it has changed me. I am far more suspicious of everybody than I
Mhm.
ever was. I mean, if somebody is all of a sudden very nice to me, I'm going to be nice back because in Alabama, that's what we do. But that doesn't mean that's what we think. Um, it's kind of, yeah, it's a weird. Southerners are weird. I'll say that. But I'm going to be nice to your face, and but what's going on in my head might not be nice at all. And I think when somebody comes at me and they're just super sweet and super helpful and all this, now I don't take them at face value. I'm like, what do you want? In the back of my head, as I'm
Hmm.
smiling at you and saying, bless your heart, I'm like, what do you want? What do you want from me?
Well, I know I've confirmed that I'm the nicest person that I know because, I mean, I was so nice and normal with people, and I always thought that that's how you're supposed to be, and the internet has shown me that the absolute worst people you will ever fucking meet are right here, and
Mhm.
that's what's been a shock to me because
Yeah.
in my real life, I had never really known or had experiences dealing with people as horrible as I've encountered here.
Right.
And that's been a real wake up call to me. It's like, damn, I didn't know there were
Mhm.
so many fucking horrible people. Hateful, evil, miserable, terrible, shitty, meth head, drunk, fucking just evil fucking people.
Yeah. And it's funny because even on my other channel, which is not really controversial. I mean, I can be controversial, and sometimes people get in a fight in the chat. So I'm like, I'm out. I'm staying out of this one. But or in the comments. But even at that, I sometimes get the weirdest comments, like criticizing my makeup, criticizing my accent, or saying, you know, you're boring, you're whatever. And I'm like, did I ask you? Like, because
You're a
seriously,
pedophile.
didn't ask your opinion, but whatever. And I don't take it down because I feel like this. The only time I will take a comment down on any of my videos is if I have a guest on and they are slamming the guest. A lot of
Mhm.
times the guest will see the comment and respond, and I'll leave that up. But if you're, I won't tolerate that disrespect. But if you are going to say something about me, it's going to live forever on YouTube because I want everybody to know exactly who you are and how ugly you are. So I'm like, I'm not going to take it. Call me whatever you want to. Um, sometimes I look back at my videos and I agree. I'm like, yeah, that was crap.
I'm my worst critic. I'm often disappointed. But
Yeah.
no, but I'll say like oh man.
Do you think you can ever go back? I guess here's the other question. Let's say, hypothetically, we wake up tomorrow morning and there has been a confession. It's all laid out there. They free Richard Allen. We know who, the whole truth about Libby and Abby. They get justice. We wake up tomorrow morning and that is what we're looking at. Can you, and I'm not talking about quitting YouTube because I know probably like me, we'll always be talking about something, but can you go back to the person that you were? Do you think that's possible?
I'd have to leave YouTube. Yeah. I'd have to leave the internet. I think I could, but I could never be on this internet. Like I'd have to totally leave and probably take 3 to 5, let's say 2 to 3 years to
Mhm.
just like go back to the person I was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't see it like it's cuz it's sort of a survival strategy,
it
it's like
is.
yeah.
Wasn't it? I think it was Low Light that I was talking to sometime in the last couple of months, and maybe we did it on a live. I don't know, but he was talking about some woman who has a knitting channel. Okay, knitting. How offensive is that? And she was getting death threats.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Can I
how?
knit?
I mean, like, seriously,
Well,
what is wrong with
what gets
people?
me is like the whole thing with like you're Prof's the most evil person on the internet. Prof's the most evil person. He's ruining Delphi. He's a cyber stalker. And I'm like, really? Uh Periodically, for every 10 times you aggress me, I might say something once, or I might do something once, or maybe it might take 50 times to fuck with me and I respond once. And what
Mhm.
they do is you respond that one time and then they'll twist it and all of a sudden, look, he's evil. He's doxing women. And you're like, yeah, but you didn't say that these women have been terrorizing me for 4 to 5 months. And I
Yeah.
finally had enough. So I put their picture on the internet. But
Mhm.
suddenly I'm the one who's terrorizing women. They will twist any little thing it could be. And for me, that's been the thing that's just hardest to deal with. It's like, you guys really don't understand that I'm a nice person. Because if you can't see that I'm a nice person, what do you do with real fucking assholes and evil people?
Yeah. I mean, they probably love them. I'm never, I never cease to be amazed at people who stay in unhealthy relationships where they are constantly, and I'm not going to call it again. Y'all can read between the lines. I ain't going to call out a creator, but I know, and y'all all are aware of a creator that, in my opinion, abuses his subscribers and chats, you know,
That's all you
calls
have to
them all
say.
kind of stuff and says, "Okay, if I don't get so much money by this time, tonight I'm done." And I'm like, "I'm not an abused wife. I'm not an abused, woman."
I don't
And
like
like,
the
"Look,
abuse, dude.
let me tell you something. I wish I could take money out of your bank account for that." You
I
know?
should charge you for watching this shit.
Yes. Yes. For paying you. I'm like, I think this is harassment. But yet people pour money into this creator. And what I don't understand is why. What kind of mindset do you have that you think it's
Yeah,
okay for
we're
somebody
gonna
to
look at
treat you
some
like that?
maps right now. I got some Google Maps up. Let's pull up a Google map and just look at it for a while.
I know. I know. And I think I watched I've watched clips of that because I was trying to hear an old interview with certain people from Delphi. Hold on, my focus is out again. But but other than that, I think I turned it on one time early in my researching Delphi. I'm like, okay, you put it in, and I didn't know who anybody is. I get on this live stream, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I thought it was a joke.
Is this a
I
real
literally
thing?
did. I thought it was like a comedy. I thought I am watching a parody, right? I literally thought this was a joke. And I'm into it about 20 minutes. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think this guy's kidding.
No.
Oh my God. What is wrong? And then I'm looking at the chat and I'm thinking, what is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with
But
y'all?
see, I think this is part of the problem too, because often when I receive all this criticism that I just find is so irrational, I think I'm like, well, what do they fucking expect? Like,
Mhm.
what do you expect Vinnie Politan? Like, are you expecting you got a certain archetype? So say it's Vinnie Politan. So, okay, is everybody supposed to be Vinnie Politan? Or let's say you. So it's a
Yeah.
female, it's supposed to be Nancy Grace. If it's a male, it's supposed to be Vinny. So we got Nancy and Vinny. So every true crime creator has to be Nancy or Vinny. Is that where we are?
I
Because
mean,
I know like they'll criticize your accent. That's what makes you Silky. I love Silky. You say Silky type of shit. I love the shit. Like that's the thing. Like that's why I constantly say, uh, if you don't like what I'm doing, why in the hell are you here?
right.
Like, there's 1,000, a million fucking channels. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not clicking on Silky if I don't want to go watch Silky. So
Right.
why do you have to make it a point to come and complain about who I am? If Silky and I were in the real world, I would like
Mhm.
Silky for being Silky. And so
Yeah.
I know, hey, if I see Silky, I'm going to see Silky. If I run into Silky in a grocery store, it's going to be Silky. And if I go to Silky's house, it's going to
Right.
be Silky. If she comes visit me, it's always going to be Silky.
Right.
But they have this expectation for you to be someone who you are not, and that to me, that's the ultimate delusion. It's like, dude, people are people. And I know one thing in my life: if there are people I don't like, I stay away from them,
Mhm.
and that's just even family members. And
Yeah.
that's just a natural thing.
especially family members. Um,
especially family.
yeah, It's like, yeah, okay. But yeah, that's exactly it. And I mean, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And actually, somebody put that on one of my early videos. You're not my cup of tea. And I was like, okay, well, you could have just
Did you think of
scrolled
that all by
past without
yourself,
telling me,
person?
but I guess you think I'm going to cry myself to sleep. But that's the thing, Prof. I think how we survive, you and I, is that we know who we are. Okay, I don't have any misconceptions. I know my shortcomings. I don't think that I am the best thing since sliced bread, but I do know who I am, and your opinion of me does not change my opinion of me. So, I mean, you have to I
Well, I
think if
mean,
you're gonna be
yeah.
on YouTube, you gotta have that mindset.
And we would not have made it. Like I know you work in a correctional facility,
Mhm.
so you deal with bullshit all day. And
All day,
I
every day.
worked for 20 years in public schools.
Yeah.
So I had to work I had to do a
Yeah,
lot of bullshit all day. So
it's
I
almost the
mean,
same thing,
luckily we're tolerant to dealing with bullshit.
right?
It's the reason we
Absolutely.
survived.
Yeah, and I mean, if I do something wrong, I only apologize for things that I've done that I didn't mean to do that hurt somebody, and I will try to make it right. But if you don't accept that apology, you know, I'll try until I'm like, okay, I'm done trying. Yeah, heck with you. But I'm not going to apologize for my accent. I'm not going to apologize for my opinions and my thoughts.
Not
They're mine.
apologizing for the man bun. It's intentional. No, it's like I think of how like how was I gonna say? Like I got distracted by the chat, but
See, I want to keep up with the chat. I haven't. I
yeah,
haven't.
love to see you laughing, Prof. Thank you. Um no guy oh, I was gonna say they like to say things like you use your weapon, your platform is a weapon. No, only against the killers of Abby and Libby and the people participating in the cover up of their murders. That's all I
Right.
give a shit about. You think I care about you? Like, that's not why I'm here. And
Hmm.
listen, when this is all kind of done or when it's a downtime, I'll talk about other things that upset me, you know. Like it's
Oh,
not
you
about
thought you hated
you,
me at
viewer.
Delphi? Just wait.
Critter
Yeah.
Mama says love Silky.
Oh, thank you, Critter
Social
Mama.
media brings out all the keyboard warriors that
Hmm.
think they need to say everything they think and can't handle facts. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And this is what I always mean about look, I'll always, even the assholes, I'll respect the assholes that show their face. I really do
Yeah.
because the ones that really are that I give the least respect to are the ones hiding. And there's so many who hide behind these fake accounts. I always think, what a pussy you must be that you can't even like be man enough to go
Yeah.
and terrorize people using your own face and
Hmm.
voice, whatever.
Yeah. It's easy. It's easy to do that when you're typing and hidden. that is that's what we call, like a yellow bellied coward. Uh
You yellow belly sapsucker coward
yeah,
bastard.
exactly. That's how yellow belly there. You want to attack me from your keyboard and your, whatever. Oh, whoo, let me be scared. Um, yeah, that's ridiculous. And again, you can think what you want. I like to get along with people, and I talk to, you know, a lot of my subscribers, you know, and have different methods of reaching me. And I love to have conversations with them and see how they're doing. We're not talking about Delphi. We're just talking about your life, your kids, what's going on with you. Um, I love it. I love talking to people, but they're my people. They're my people. And if you're not my person, that's okay. Because sometimes Prof, I turn on the live stream and they may have some really good information. So I watch their videos and I think this person is very intelligent and I like what they're saying. I like their research, but I'm not feeling a vibe. I'm just like we're just different people. That it's not that they're bad. I just I don't vibe with them. And that's okay. A lot of people don't vibe with me. So, please, but by all means, you must type, I do not vibe with you. You suck, and put it up on a comment because I guess that makes
You
you
know what
feel
else? I
better.
think people get so they get this tunnel vision. Remember what I was telling you today? How I'm very well aware of what I don't know because, for instance, every once in a while, say I don't know, every week or two, I'll find another creator that I come across who I've never fucking heard of. And
Mhm.
it's like, oh, this guy's got 75,000 subs.
Mhm.
And then I'll find another one. Oh, this one's got 750,000 subs. And I
Mhm.
think, wow, geez. And I've never, ever heard of them ever until today.
Right.
And then I think, okay, so you're over here terrorizing the prof, you
Mhm.
know, day after day after day after day after day after day after day, as if I'm the only person on the internet. And even I, every week, am discovering other people who I've never discovered. And I mean, amazing creators. I watched
Right.
an interview last night for a 3 hour live stream interview with the cop. And I was watching the thing and I was like, how did I never know this channel?
Right.
And that shows you how big this whole arena is. But we get this tunnel vision of Delphi and of what we know already, and
Mhm.
people fixate. And I'm at the point where I'm like, stop fucking fixating on me. I don't care about you people. Like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do until I don't. And
Yeah.
so,
Until the day I don't want to. That's when
right.
I'll be like,
Or they'll
deuces,
say,
I'm out.
I'll take your channel down. Go ahead. Go ahead. And guess what? The next day, I'll start a new one and I'll say, hey,
Mhm.
everybody, I'm back. Come subscribe. And everybody will come right on back. Like,
Right.
come on, man. It's there are literally like you're missing days playing baseball with your kids. You're missing days going enjoying a bike ride and enjoying your day. Like, live a little.
Yeah.
There's
I,
more than Delphi here.
yeah, there is. And I mean, I I think I told you on the phone earlier, I never want to be as emotionally involved. Because Delphi definitely, to me, it wasn't just a crime. It did, Delphi did something to me that no crime case, and look, I've studied true crime my whole life. I love
Mhm.
it. Um, and there are cases that I'm fascinated with, but they haven't affected me emotionally like this one. And I've heard other people in the chat say this. I will never go as deep into a case as
Mhm.
I am in Delphi. And I agree. I never want to do that either. Um, it's too much. But I mean, but some of us, we're just the lucky ones, Prof, that uh we got all caught up in Delphi and all emotionally involved, and now here we are. And
I'll keep telling the truth. I mean,
me too.
people don't like it, but my only agenda is tell the like I look at it like this. Why would I be here? Like why? As far as talking about two little girls who were murdered, like why would I be talking about two little girls who were murdered if I'm not going to tell the complete truth about it?
Right.
No holds barred, like because it's two little girls, and then so like if I yeah maybe if I'm talking about something else, it's not two little girls. I'll do other things, but as long as I'm
Mhm.
talking about two little girls who were murdered and they're not here to talk about it, then I might as
Right.
well show the respect of like just being completely like nothing to lose here.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that's where people don't get it. It's like, what do you fucking think I'm doing here?
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice to have a lot of people in chat. It's nice to have support as far, even just the people that always show up for you. It's great to have that support. But at the end of the day, as much as I care more about justice in this case. And that is, if I was talking to an audience of myself, I would still say the exact same things. Actually, if I was talking to just like if I had only my own views on my video, I would probably be way more harsh than I actually am.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would be yeah, I would be different, but I try to, I try to tone it down knowing that everybody's different, but that's just me. And it's a southern thing. Um but yeah,
Try to
I
be
don't
nice, but yeah. Hmm.
yeah. But don't mistake southern people. We're nice. Oh, we're nice, we're polite. But we also know how to gut a catfish uh with our bare hands. So don't mistake our sweetness for weakness. So there you go. That's the truth about
I like
southern
what
women.
Tony's saying here, and I agree. Yeah, those girls were silenced. Look, this is why I say when I'm here for Abby and Libby, what I mean by that is they're not here to say what happened to them or speak for
Right.
themselves. So, what else are we doing here? Come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
And
only
and I
thing.
said I talked to a prosecution guilter the other day, and I said to her, I was like, I was like, really? You think justice was served? I says, how is that justice? That, like, for me, justice would be that they rest in peace. That, in other words, the outcome of this process for justice would be such that everyone would be satisfied and
You're
say, you
right.
know what? Now we can let those girls rest in peace because justice has been achieved.
Mhm.
But I mean, anyone who's at all honest with themselves, like even a little, has to acknowledge that there were way too many questions with this trial for Richard Allen
Mhm.
to be confident that the right thing was done and that justice was served. Therefore, justice is not served
You're
because
right.
who knows if this is overturned and appeal is granted and a new trial, then you're putting the families through the whole thing over again. Is that justice for the families? Like
No.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
the way this was done in this way, it's not finality. And it's not I don't think it is justice because
No.
you've left everyone upset and unsure. And so those girls, like, it's going to be years more of this. And so we better I'm just of the opinion I'd rather figure it out now. How can we deal with moving forward when we know, at least with Richard Allen, we'll have years more of this?
Right.
Can't we move forward like in a
Yeah.
sane fashion?
Because, the victim count, and I certainly not to the degree that Abby and Libby endured, but what you have done in this case, people, law enforcement, and others, is you've created more victims. So you've got Richard and Kathy Allen. They're new victims to this case. We're relatively new. And I mean, then you have all the creators that have been harassed and doxxed and uh, swatted. all that. All you've done is create more victims in this
And
case.
we have
There's
dead
no justice.
individuals. Like there's zero doubt we have a couple dead individuals or
Yes.
few, and there may even be two or three times more that we don't
Hmm.
know about yet. But
Right.
there's at least several individuals who are dead behind this. And how do you think those girls would feel? Like, oh, some have died following this case.
Yeah. Exactly. And all the turmoil. Yeah, it's just like the victims list just grows um in other ways. And it's like that's why it's hard to shut up about it even when there's no new news. It's you know, even when people ask me a simple question about Delphi, well, what do you think? Like, look, I start talking for 20 minutes and I know they just, feel like their ears have been blown off, but because I can't say something simply about Delphi because I'm going to have to go into bec- I believe this because of this, 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 and this, and what you don't know is this, this, and this, and I can see the expression on people's faces, like I wish I had never asked this question, but I that is so ingrained in me that when I start talking Delphi, I just even the same things I've said 100 times. It's like I feel the need to say them again
Mhm.
until there's a resolution. So here you are.
Yeah, and you called this. So you're calling this online predators, and so that I think it's important to say because for me, I look at this case in two ways with Delphi. I look at it like Perhaps it was initiated with online predators, you know, because we still don't know that. Like, how do you know that Keegan Klein or Dropbox or some kind of pedophiles in that area didn't target these girls? It's still
Mhm.
unknown.
Right.
And then I look at the post murder scenario where now for 7, 8 years, the whole community has dealt with online predators in terms of trolls, terrorism, harassment, swatting, doxing. So I've always said that this case has been social media from day one, and I mean that I think that from day one, or even before day one, there was online predator activity or social media predation, and I think to this very day, it remains the same that they're online predators or
Right.
criminals who are still terrorizing this community, and I'll never think differently. This
Yeah.
whole case is a whole bunch of online predators, or, different people use different words.
And I mean, yeah, I have a lot of questions about the whole Kagan Klein thing. I mean, I understand that, more than one person was likely using some of those devices, but at the same time, I'm like, what are the odds that somebody from this phone talks to Liberty that day and then she ends up, you know, unalive? The odds on that are so astronomical.
Astronomical. Yeah, yeah.
And so, but LE, they spent years letting Kagan not be in jail. And then, and not really, I think they were trying, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, okay? So, no slander here. It's my opinion only. I think it took so long because they had to undo the ties to Kagan from Delphi. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
They
you
had
mean
to
for a
run
cover up
interference.
as part of
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
hiding? Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that I've said so many times, and I'll yell this from the rooftops. I believe Discovery was sanitized, meaning
Mhm.
when those 70 days are deleted, like 70 days are because you knew you had a sequential recording, so you knew that those 70
Right.
days are missing. But you don't know how much Discovery is missing, because if that gets deleted with the delete button, you don't fucking know. Or if some
Right.
DNA ends up in the trash bin, you never know because it's never logged in or so. So I think that Discovery is sanitized. And I
Mhm.
believe, yeah, possibly these ties to, if there was a Keegan tie. I just think, like you said, what are the odds that two separate predators would target these girls like in the
Mhm.
same date at the same time? It's
Right.
astronomical.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, who was using the phone? Was it Kagan? I don't know. It might not have been. But somebody, see, but then here is where my thought goes. I think the reason they had to get rid of, and like you said, sanitize it, is because th- any kind of interference or tying that would blow the whole operation. You
Mhm.
know, it blows the whole income, if you know what I'm saying. The whole nefarious ring of trafficking things or substances. And I think it was a lot of people were in both. That's my opinion. It's like Delphi. There's not that many people, okay? You're going to have, you know, you're going to have laps and, people lapping over
Mhm.
each other. So you have to disentangle Kagan to put it on somebody else. And I think that's why it took so much time because, I mean, they knew about him within a few days. Like, it wasn't
Mhm.
long before they knew who Kagan Klein was. But, nobody else did. Like, the other people, this wasn't, a thing. It was after a couple of years. And then everybody's like, oh, well, Kagan did it. But I think they had already cut the lines, divided them so that he couldn't be. Yeah, it's astronomical, but we have no direct links. And like that 70 days, you couldn't just, like, let's say they interviewed, Daisy Smith at the grocery store who happened to be in the area, and that was on day 14, but on day 13 and day 15 they had some really important things. Like, you can't just pick and choose, oh well, the cameras weren't working this day but they were working that day.
Right. So you
Well,
have to.
you have to have a big block and say,
And I
oh
think,
no.
and we know there were two of those, and I thought the exact same thing, Silky. You had two separate chunks of time that were wiped out, which tells me there were probably a couple few interviews in each of those chunks of times that
Hmm.
they're like, these tie back to the real killers or the real situation, so we gotta nix this right now, and they
Right.
nixed it, and then they went in discovery, and they probably nixed some discovery, and then that's why Christine and Erica and Baldwin and Hoffman and the whole fucking defense, they don't know shit because it's all been disappeared. You
Yeah,
ain't gonna solve the crime that way. That's where
exactly.
this whole kerfuffle lately of the post conviction investigation and people are all up in arms because there's truth to the statement. There needs to be an entirely new post conviction investigation that's comprehensive and in depth, but actual professionals. And I would say former FBI, former U.S. Marshals, and these types, people who can actually do the job like no one else.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an immense undertaking. And that's the only thing that's I could possibly see ever like getting to the bottom of this because I just don't see your standard discovery that's
Mm-mm.
been already been fucking manipulated solving the problem.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that regard, I mean, you have to wonder, will justice for Abby and Libby ever be possible, even if Richard Allen goes free at some point, which we hope. But, you know, with that, and let me say this, I always smile when you use the word kerfuffle. I forget that word, and I love that. I like, it's the kind of word I would just go around saying kerfuffle. You know,
I actually
but
don't
it's
like.
a
I
bad
think it's. I
kerfuffle.
think it's like a.
I love it. I love that word, but I forget to use it. I've got to
Uh,
remember. Put that in your brain, Silky. But yeah, the big kerfuffle. I don't know. Now I begin to wonder, unless we had a well, I'm out of focus
you got
again.
blurry.
I know. I'm way out of focus. Uh
There you go.
but yeah, I have to wonder now, if unless we had a confession of someone who was there who could validate
Well,
everything, I
see,
mean, can we ever expect to know the
that's my
whole
thing. That's my
story?
thing. The only way this will ever, I believe, the only way this will ever be solved is if the community tells the fucking truth. Somebody in
Yeah.
that community or several have to come forward
Mhm.
after all these years and start telling the fucking truth because I have always shamed that community for saying, you what kind of community eats its own children or covers up the
Right.
murders of two of its own children. And I
Right.
hate to be so crude, but I just feel that I'm very upset with the community because I think some in that community absolutely know and they've zipped their lips because I don't know if they're terrified, if they're covering up for
Probably.
relatives, whatever it is. That community needs to solve this crime.
Yeah. It's one of those things that, you know, I want to see Richard Allen have a fair trial. Um, I think if he had a fair trial, he would be innocent. I want justice for him, but it's one of these things, Prof, that I wonder if, like, when you look at these cases on in the news or on the internet, that somebody 30, 40 years from now, you know, when nobody cares and all the important people that covered it up are dead, they're going to say, oh well, on their confessional before they die, well, I
Mhm.
was part of this. I mean, it might be one of those cases that takes literally decades for somebody to feel comfortable in telling the
Mhm.
truth, and I think that's horrible. It's not fair to Abby and Libby, um, and I certainly don't want to be talking about this in 30 years.
No, no, and I believe so. So I have this inkling that this could be a satanic cult affiliated murder, and
Oh, I do
so
too.
I therefore I've been studying prior satanic cult affiliated murders, and there's this one detective from New York, and he's retired, and he had studied this case that was satanic uh, affiliated murder. And by the time it all got where he had a source that started feeding him the truth, his source was named Tiny. Okay, so Tiny started giving him some details. Well, it was a biker gang that had satanic affiliations, and by the time Tiny started talking, pretty much everybody was dead,
Yeah.
you know? So like that's what I'm looking at with this group is, are we going to be in a situation like you say where it's 15, 20, 30 years from now and people start talking, but now everyone they're talking about has already died. So now it can't be prosecuted because yeah, like, now we know we got a whistleblower that's saying it's this one, this one, this one were involved,
Hmm.
but they are dead and they're all dead now. And then, I just think there's more to this, and that it would only take a brave person to step forward. Because the thing I feel about these types of things is especially, people have said in this town, anytime anyone's researched the connections and people say, well, this one's connected to this one or this one's related to this one, and they say, well, it's just a town of 3,000, so everybody's connected. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, yeah, well, there's truth to that.
Yeah, sure
Yeah,
there is.
there is truth to that. But at the same time, you know, not everybody is connected to the actual murderers of these girls. And I'm not even of I'm in a position where I'm open to any possibility. So I think whether it be family, whether it be Richard Allen, whether it be Keegan Klein or anybody else, I don't put it past anybody because all I know is
Right.
I wasn't there that day. So
Right.
you know, I have an open ended theory that this is deep. People know what happened. People need to talk about what happened, need to feel comfortable to talk about what happened. And it's probably going to be locals. And so it's going to take some locals to tell on or talk about some other locals. And I don't know. It's this is so complicated that I truly think that there's no I don't think there's a digital solution forensically. I don't think there's a DNA forensic solution. I think there's a human intelligence or a human source solution, and it would just take some people who know to step forward and put an end to it to this.
Yeah. I lost my mount. Oh, there it is. Um and I mean, I can imagine at the time that people talk and, we're both solid gray and, half blind and deaf still up in here talking about it. I don't want
Yeah.
that. But, you know, by then you'll be shaking your cane at people, Prof. I told you 30 years
Well, if I'm
ago.
still talking about this when I'm gray, I need to find another job because I don't want to be talking about this in 5 years, even.
Yes. Yeah, I don't either. But I still do want justice. But, I told you the only other case that I am emotionally involved in and I stay away from it on purpose is Boys on the Tracks,
Hmm.
because it is like a mirror of Delphi, in a lot of respects. And this took place in the late 70s. And now, um, I think it was either 70s or 80s. I can't remember now, but long time ago. But many books have been written on it. The people, they know who the people are. So many people, so many of the witnesses were unalived immediately, within the first year. And but now the perpetrators are still walking around, not
Hmm.
all of them because it's been so many years, but people know who was involved, and yet they never faced any consequences, even though some later witnesses who were hidden for a while came forth and told the whole story of what happened. It's
Hmm.
out there. But again, it took decades before anybody was able to tell the story and survive, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
and I feel there's a lot. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that one because I'll say to any of the people, any of the guilters who say there's no way that the cops are corrupt or there's no way that the prosecutor's corrupt, it's a perfect case in point. Look at Boys on the Tracks.
mhm.
if you don't think that a few cops in important positions, the perfect positions, could be corrupt, or the prosecutor can be corrupt or colluding with them, and or some politicians, if you don't think really important people can be corrupt, go look at that case, because
Right.
there's a potential, and I think it's a good possibility that what we're dealing with in Delphi is very similar. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look, it's no doubt, there's zero doubt whatsoever. Judge Diener should have never signed that
No.
safekeeping order that put uh, Richard Allen in this hellhole of
Mm-hmm.
Westville, because he authored the fucking request for Lesaby. Lesaby perjured himself in the whole deposition
Mm-hmm.
or affidavit about that.
Yes.
And then the judge obviously crossed the line on several occasions with her actions,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly the prosecutor too. So for me, it's like, for anyone to look all of that, and then to have, you had Tony Liggett say that there was a phrase uttered on that recording, which was, "That be a gun." And
That
we
still
all have all
cracks me
heard
up.
it for ourselves now, and we absolutely know that was not said. So that's a perjure, or that's a
Mm-hmm.
misrepresentation to the jurors or to the judge. And then we also had who was the other one I was trying to get towards, O'Brien Harshman, say there's 61 confessions plus. And then now that we have it all, we realize, no, there's not 61 confessions plus.
Yeah.
There's a few. And everything else was a gross misrepresentation.
Mm-hmm.
And he also was able to sit there and say to the jury that his opinion was that the voice on the recording matches Richard Allen. And that's not even his field or his subject matter. So there was so much with this case that you have to look at it and wonder, like, how is this even allowed in our modern America? Like, this is the USA, the God bless America, that everything we ever taught, to pledge allegiance to the flag and look at the stars and stripes, and we were taught to love this country for freedom and for justice. And look at what happened here, and it's obvious this should not be happening in 2025 or 2024. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
No.
And I don't see how these guilters can even accept that. Like, you've got to be able to acknowledge the guy was railroaded at a minimum.
Yeah. I mean, it's so obvious, and uh, I don't even want to start down that rabbit hole. Y'all all know my opinion on so many of the points of that, but I wondered, Prof, if and I don't like to entertain this thought, I really don't, but if everything goes south and we don't get the justice for anybody that we are fighting so hard for, what happens? Like, how do you think that would change you? Would you give up YouTube? Would you give up advocacy? What, I mean, where do you think will happen will happen to us emotionally, psychologically, if we can't get any justice?
Oh, nothing for me. I'm going to keep telling the truth. I look at it like this: like, we've been blessed. So the way that I look at it is this platform, like, you and I grew up. I know I grew up, and surely you would have too. I had a clicker TV, and maybe there
Oh
were like 10 channels or 11.
yeah,
Those old TVs with the
yeah, I'm old.
console. They were made like a dresser, and you like
Hmm.
click, 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 and you get through all
Yeah,
10 or 11 channels, and then you're back to two.
right.
So I
Those
remember
are
the
the
day
days.
and age when your only options were like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and maybe
Hmm.
zero. And then and now to think that we're in an age where we can sit here and broadcast ourselves to the entire world in a way where before we would have had to be hired by NBC to be on a
Right.
particular specialized spotlight, or maybe we would have had to be like Art Bell and get become a legend in radio and
Yeah.
broadcast out. And for me, I'll never stop, because I think, like, if I can tell the truth, no matter what forget about the outcome, just to be a voice of truth and transparency. And so I don't, I could have 20 people here, I could have 2,000. It doesn't matter to me, because if I can sit here and just be genuine with the world, and whether they like it or not, it doesn't matter. Um, so, like you say, Delphi over and 10 years from now, it doesn't matter to me because it's like the modality is still the same. We have this weird place and time when we have freedom to speak on an open platform that can go out anywhere to the world, and you never know who that's going to mean something to. And
Yeah.
when you were talking about the discords and how negative they were, I will acknowledge that, but I'll like what I've looked at as far as the positive side has been how, despite all the negative, like I would say they could be 10 or 20 or 100 negatives, but if I have one person that I match up with positively and
Mhm.
is like a good back and forth type of relationship, I look at that as outweighing that negative. So
Yeah.
since I've
Yeah.
been here long enough, I've had a lot of that start to come my way, and I look at it like, wow, I got a lot of really good people that I've connected with in this past year or so, who I would not have otherwise. So I look at that as a big thing too, because Delphi or not, I'm still encountering really good, smart, helpful people, and we're not all the same, but like I told you earlier, I said everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and I look
Mhm.
at like what are people really good at? Because if somebody's special at something, and that's something I'm not, then that's something to be valued. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. I don't know. I guess I wonder sometimes, and I do talk about other things, but I wonder sometimes the if things went wrong, would I just give up on people? Because I mean, sometimes sometimes I have that thought. Is anybody listening? Does anybody care? Is there any advocacy for justice? Can anything be done? Um, you know, Sometimes maybe it's just a low day. I certainly always have the spirit to fight for justice or advocate for something. Um, but I don't know. It's like, how long could I do this and watch the world burn? I don't know.
Mm, I don't know.
I
I know
guess.
this when I go live, I just love my chat. So, I've said that to my closest friends. I was
Mhm.
like, despite all the bullshit and all the hate and all that, I know this when I go live and my chat comes in, it is one real thing. It's something I
Yes.
love because I'm like, man, the
Yeah.
chat is not, I mean, as far as this particular YouTube platform, I mean, if it wasn't, I've said it before, if it wasn't for the chat, I wouldn't do it. The
Yeah.
chat is the only reason I do it.
I like doing videos on subjects, and even my strange channel. But I that's the only reason I do lives, and that's the only thing that keeps me going. And I know my people have wondered where I'm at because haven't done much the last couple of weeks, and I'll talk about it sometime soon. But it has nothing to do. It's just all in my personal life. But that is the one thing. Even when I say I am so sick of Delphi, I am so sick of all of this. I'm so sick of the stress and whatever that goes on. And I don't do anything for a few days, or I don't do anything for a week, and I'm like, I'm done. I start wondering, not about the case, but I start wondering about, I think of the names in my chat. I'm like, I wonder who that, wonder how Samantha's doing. I wonder how Pam's doing. I wonder how Four Pits is. Like, is he okay? I start wondering about all these people, and I miss them. I genuinely miss them. So sometimes I go live and I really don't have anything to say. I'm, talking about some kind of news thing, but it's not because I'm a huge advocate even for that all the time. I just like to see my people and say, "Hey, how you doing? I
Mhm.
miss you. I really, really miss you." So I guess that is, if anything keeps me doing this, that would be it. Absolutely.
Mhm. And that's what I love here. Like, I kind of made it a thing now where like I don't have a set schedule necessarily, but I think my viewers, they know that several days a week in the evening time I'll be here,
Yeah.
and especially on Fridays. So I think they kind of look out. It's like we know, like if I'm gone for 2 weeks, something's wrong, you know,
Yeah.
because basically every 5 days or four or three or two, I should kind of be around. So if it goes more than a week or two and I'm not
Mhm.
around, and that's what I do with my chat too. If I start seeing someone who's missing, I start
Yeah.
worrying like, oh, I wonder where this one is or that
Right.
one. And so I've liked that kind of flow with mine where I know that, whether I like it or not, or feel good or bad, I know that at least a few days a week I'll kind of be around. And Shibby's like that bad smell. Uh you're like, what is that? And he's following you around. So Shibby's here regardless. So when Shibby's not around, then I get really worried because I'm like, oh my God, it's a Saturday and Shibby's not around. Where the hell?
Yeah. See, I think that about Four Pits because I know he said a lot of things, said a lot of things. And so if I don't see him, if I see him in your chat, I'm like, okay, I'm good. He's fine. I have a lot of friends on here who have had serious health problems. So if they're not here, then I'm like,
Hmm.
are they okay? How are you doing? And then just people that they just they're so smart and they're so supportive. And you might think when you're in a chat, oh, well, they don't really pay that much attention to me. But look, we do. We do. And even we see you there. And even if, we're looking at it, we're not really discussing a comment, like we see you and we miss you. If you're consistently there and then you're not, we wonder because you never know because people come in here with all kind of names, and most of you, I don't know what your real name is, where you live, if you were in some kind of accident, did like tonight, did a tornado blow through your county, um you know we don't know. So yeah, it means the world, and it is truly the only thing that keeps me going. And I don't think I never intended to do a live stream, Prof. That was not when I started both of my channels. I was like, I am not a live stream person. And the reason is
Uh-oh.
because I am notorious. You could ask my in real life friends. I'm notorious for don't put her on a speakerphone. And when you're if I call you, don't put me on speaker. Like, sometimes you can't hear you, whatever. I put speaker people on speaker a lot because I'm doing something and there's nobody else around. But like if there's other people around, don't put me on speakerphone. And I'm notorious for saying whatever
Uh-oh.
paraphrased of going live because I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can control what I say, what I think. Um, I just the internet lives forever. And that's what I keep telling myself. The internet lives forever. I do not want to put anything out there. So I had to really, kind of learn how to behave in public.
Not me. I just do it. But it was funny. The funniest thing, Silga, and I'm going to tell my trolls this a secret tonight because I guess they just don't get it. Uh, there's so many times when I go off, and I'm like, okay, what I'm about to say right now is going to be so off the charts. Like I know they're going to clip it, so I'll just sit here and I'll be like, okay, and then I let it loose, and I'm like, watch, $100, they fucking clip it, and in the next few days, there's a little 30-second clip of just this moment, and I damn near do it damn near every other live stream these days, and sure enough, I've never failed. Every time I do it, like they're gonna clip it, you know. And that's a talent I have. I don't even think Snay has it. Snay will say shit he doesn't realize he's gonna be clipped, but I'll say shit with the intention for it to be clipped, and sure enough, it always happens. And
I think that's hilarious. I do.
It's like
Um,
trolling the trolls in reverse orders.
yeah, yeah.
I'll give you
Um,
something to clip, bitch.
clip this.
Clip this.
That's a great way to look
And
at
that'll
it.
be one, by the way.
Oh my god.
Notorious Silky. It's like the YouTube. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm involved with a lot of things in my community, and so I am known around here, and because of that, I put a bridle on my my online, and even sometimes in person, depends on where I'm at. I have been notoriously bad, even in very proper places. Um, and I'm not even going to go into some of the shenanigans I have pulled. Y'all would not believe it. I promise you, you wouldn't believe it if I told you. But but there are people who know me, and they absolutely, those are the people that say, "Yeah, don't put her on the speakerphone." And so because of that, um, I was terrified of the whole live stream, and I didn't realize, because I was at that point, I was just thinking about myself, like I'm gonna get on there and I'm gonna say something really bad, and it's gonna be like clipped forever and shown to all of my friends and my church friends and my relatives, and
Oh my
they're
God.
gonna say,
You
"Who's that?"
got Prof cursing like a sailor. Yeah.
So I'm like, but I didn't realize the perks of the live stream is it has nothing to do with me. It is everything to do with y'all people in chat, and I love
Mhm.
it.
I keep
So
pulling them up. Like so many awesome comments. No, but I always laugh because see, I've never said it. I've never there's some things I'm just not gonna give the fucking trolls, but I have some favorite YouTubers, you know. And one of my favorites, trust me, if you heard that guy, you would blush and you would never return to YouTube because that guy is so off the chart. So anytime I think I'm going nuts, it pales in comparison. Like I'm like a 1 and he's a 10. Uh so yeah, I just no matter how rowdy I get, I'll never be that guy cuz it's off the charts, but if that guy can be on YouTube for all these years and be off the charts and saying what he says and as loud as crazy as he is, then I know, look, I can be on here and be the prof and not be booted off the YouTube. But the trolls don't want to think. They want to think, oh, we're gonna mass report your videos and get rid of you and you need gone. Yeah, not gonna happen.
see, I don't understand this, Prof, because and you're not the only person that I've noticed this about. Um, but you're totally yourself, and you don't care, and that's to me that's admirable. Um, but I have to live here in the South, so I can't
Did
misbehave
you
that
hear
bad.
about Silky and
Bless
what she
your
said
heart.
Wednesday night?
I know.
Girl.
I saw you. As a matter of fact, what was it I did? I did something. And when I walked into church, and it wasn't like it was a mistake, I didn't mean to. But when I walked into church the next Sunday, I don't even know what channel it was on, when or what it was, but it was caught forever. And the one of the pastors said, "I saw that video." I was
Oh
like,
no.
"Oh my god, I didn't even know you knew I had a channel." Yeah, I'm like, well, oh, I'm blurry again. But yeah, the one thing I've noticed, yeah, you and some other people can say all these kind of stuff on YouTube, and I say, look, a couple months ago, I reported, okay, and I gave my opinion, and I reported on something on X that it was a doctor or somebody saying something, people who seemingly have some kind of credentials. I was reporting on it, and I got very much like, this is your warning. Do this again, and we're taking your channel down. You can't talk about that. I'm like, well, I don't understand, because I've watched videos on YouTube about these same subjects, and people are saying all kind of stuff, whatever they want to. That's how I knew from between YouTube and X. And I'm like, how am I getting this? you're going to bother me, my tiny little channel, for saying something. How did you even know? I said that. And yeah, for 3 months, I was on both of my channels were,
Oh no, you got disciplined.
I did. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm naming in my head, well, there's the prof and there's all, look at what all these people say. And you're going to come after me? Why?
Erin says, "Wait, what?" I guess
Yeah.
she said something that was not approved, but no,
Yeah.
I mean
But I
they.
mean,
It's you
I
never know. You never know with people, man.
You don't. And I'm like, but what I did realize about that. So y'all who are in the chat or who watch this who have channels, if you have more than one channel, you can only have one AdSense account. And so the channel Silky is not my bigger channel. My Spooky Southern Tea is. And so that one that was doing very well and progressing, and that's the one that I'm make the most money from, and it's just I tell spooky stories. They're true, but whatever. And even my views went so far down. Everything went so far down. And I'm like, so I know that you are not recommending my videos because I'm not growing steadily on that channel like I had been, because my you is attached to my AdSense account. So just know, if you screw up on one channel,
Oh
it will
no!
affect your other channels. It will.
Hey, everybody, please. Well, one of my mods on my channel, would you please put Silky Southern Tea? Okay, put Silky's channel. Put a link to Silky on my channel, and then please on Silky's channel, put a
Yes.
link to my channel. So everyone who's on the Prof, go and that way. Go subscribe to Silky, and everyone who's on Silky, some come subscribe to
Yes.
Prof, and
Wait, no,
everyone please do that,
that
because
way.
I think maybe me and Silky would be winding it down. We have things to
Yeah.
do, but we so appreciate you being here and watching. And you guys are amazing in the chat. I'm still looking at them. Mino Dino, hellos. Heather Brown, Rhonda Holton, Snarky Sass, Amy,
Yes.
Gretchen Allen, Sweet Dude Shibby, Rhonda Holton, Who's Her Daddy, Carla Ann, Tracy Fleetwood, Miss K, Dom S, Linda K. Johnson. Hey, you came in from New Zealand.
Okay.
Okay, and Greenlee, everybody else here, I so appreciate you being here. I'm not going back that far, but you guys know who's here, and we appreciate you for being here. It was a
Yeah.
fun night. Hey, Nicole, and Sweet Dude Shibby says he's the worst mod ever. Oh, we got Critter Mama. Hey, Critter Mama, and hey, Court of Public Opinion. Yeah, so you guys subscribe. Let's subscribe to each other's channels.
Yeah. How did I do that? This way. Everything's backwards on here.
I know it's
That way.
backwards.
Yes, please subscribe to Prof. And if you look, here's the thing that I can say about Prof. If you really just want to like get him wound up, because if you want to hear somebody express your own feelings, like if you have trouble putting into words, your rants, then please listen to Prof, because he will do it for you. Let's get him wound up. And hey, I'm here for it. I am. I I wish that I could do that, but I don't. I don't on my channel, but
I'll
I
say
will.
bad
Y'all
words.
can tell y'all know if you follow my channel. If you followed my channel for a while, you know when I'm getting upset, because I get very snarky, and that's when, if you ever hear me refer to Holman as Jer, I am mad. I'm fuming. So I keep it down, but I really wish, Prof, that I could just turn it loose like you do. But then I can't walk into church the next
I
Sunday. So
turn it loose, and I try not to have my head explode, but at times my blood pressure does go up. But I've been trying to keep it more settled, but these people will trigger the shit out of you. That's the thing, Silky.
well,
They, you
I'm in
know,
there, watching the replay or whatever, and I don't get to stay for the whole streams, but I'll watch, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Prof is going off, and I'm like, I'm sitting on my couch going, yeah, Prof, I'm like, tell him, get
Y'all,
them,
it
Prof.
doesn't have to be this way. Like, hey, yeah, like I said this the other night. I said, all this anger, let's be real here. There's a lot of anger that this shit engenders in you. All this anger, it needs to be directed one place. And it ain't the prof, it ain't Silky, it ain't anybody else on YouTube. Literally.
Right.
It's somebody sitting in a courthouse or in a prosecutor's office or in a police station,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the killers of Abby and Libby.
Right.
That's all that anger needs to go that direction. Keep it off of YouTube.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
hide your kids, hide your wife. He says,
You know,
"Prof, get yourself."
hey, you know what? That hide your kids guy, he's only about an hour from me, I think. I don't know exactly how many
Whoa.
miles, but yeah. When that was a big thing when that happened, and I wasn't on YouTube. I don't even know. I guess YouTube was in the beginning stages, maybe that it hadn't
It's
been around
old,
that long.
yeah, yeah.
And that's but all my friends, like, because I went to high school in Virginia, and then I've got friends all over the United States. That follow me on Facebook, and that's what I got my inbox, and I was tagged and everything. Oh, look at this guy from Alabama. I'm like, yeah, yeah, and actually, he's not far from me either. So, welcome to the South.
Somebody
I
in
think
here
it's
said,
hilarious.
"Prof says what we're all thinking." Who said that? Christina. Christina
It's
said, "Prof
true.
says what we're all thinking."
Yes, you
At
do.
times.
You do.
And what
And
else is Amy
what?
said, "Thank you for supporting the channel. Please hit likes, comments, donations, and memberships. And also on the replay, y'all, whoever's watching a replay, leave comments down below in the replay. And
Yes, please.
yeah, we appreciate that. We appreciate you just hanging out, honestly. Omen is a Neanderthal. He's a
Did you
Wookiee.
did you call out your supporters, your super
Oh,
chats?
did I
Oh,
forget that already? Oh, Jesus. Now I don't know how to see him because of we're back on your platform. But
oh, wait. Let me see
listen,
if I can
we
do it.
had someone donate to the channel. So whoever
There.
donated, thank you so much.
Okay, can you see this on the side, Prof? All the colors? Is that
Yes.
coming up? Okay. I think these are super chats, and if so, you can call out.
Maybe I don't see them though.
Do
No, I
you don't
don't.
see the colors?
I
Look
see
where the
Ninja
comments are.
Warrior Assassin just hit one up for $20. Thank you, Ninja Warrior Assassin. You're so sweet, and thank you for the
Yes,
support.
I can. Look here. I'll
I don't
highlight
see
these.
any others. You can
Wait,
do them. Oh,
why are
Rebby Lee sent $20 to one of us.
yeah? And
Somehow I was unsubscribed. Thank you.
is this okay? And that's from I am.
I am. Thank you, Prof and Silky. Love both of your channels. Looking forward to the
Oh, sorry.
collaboration.
Get up faster, Prof. No,
Blame the cat.
I'm so sorry. Let me put that back up there. That was.
That was I am.
It keeps. I'll hit show, and then it doesn't come up, and then it goes away. All right, there we
Okay,
go.
looking forward to the collaboration. Please keep fighting exposing trade. Thank you so much, sweetie.
Yes.
Crazy girl.
And then we've got Rebby Lee. Maybe this is on both of our channels.
Maybe Rebby Lee went to each of our channels. That was so sweet too, Rebby.
Yes.
Thank you
And
for
then we got
supporting
Keith
us.
Kellogg. Where's it? Okay, there we go.
Keith Kellogg, thank you. Director's chair with the words on set. I need one. David
David
Rogers,
Rogers.
Sheba dog with the big smile on his face, tilting his
Oh,
head.
that's the I can't
Oh,
see
that's
it. I have to see it on the yeah, thank you,
thank you,
David.
David Rogers.
Yeah.
And
And then
look, my
there's
main mod, Amy. Thank you, Amy, for sticking out. What is the word? Sticking with me, sticking
yeah,
it out,
we've been on for
sticking
a
it out.
long time. Thank you, Ninja Warrior.
Amy's
All right.
always here to support the main mod. She's my main mod. She's badass. And sweet dude Shibby says $20 holler.
How do I now I can't get back to the comments. What did I do? Oh, wait, I
I
got
don't know how to get to that. So
it's on the filter. It's on the filter. There
okay.
we go. Now I
So you
got the comment.
guys, look, I love you all so much in the chat. Thanks for being here. Silky's people, I'm glad to meet you if I haven't already. And like I said, come on to the channel. We don't bite. And maybe a lot of my viewers, if you go subscribe to Silky, that will help grow her channel. I appreciate that. And Silky, thank you. again for coming on. I know it wasn't but a few days ago we talked about this. So.
Yeah, it just scheduling is, I love doing lives with you, Prof. I really do. It it's just hard to work out a schedule. But I will say, are you? Let's see. Are you working on anything else that you want to tell anybody about?
Oh yes, but secrets. Uh, let's see. Today's Tuesday, so well, yeah. I got a few shows lined up, but none of them are. I guess there's one. Okay, there's one I'll talk about.
Okay.
So I have one that's coming up about Kentucky. Okay, because I've been working with some law enforcement in Kentucky, and I've been working on some Kentucky cases, and I got some really good special info from Kentucky. And so
Sorry.
uh, it's kind of funny because what we're finding, Silky, is we're not getting many whistleblowers from Indiana to step forward,
Uh
but
huh.
we're getting people from Kentucky who are bringing forward some really alarming shit. And so,
Really?
yeah, so we got Kentucky. I guess maybe Thursday I'll do a Kentucky show featuring several really concerning cases in Kentucky and with some insider information that no one else has. And then and I'll do my Friday show, and then we're working on another whistleblower scenario for the future that I'm as soon as it happens, I'm gonna let you know because I'm gonna
Yes,
want you to
please.
watch it. Um,
Yeah,
and then we
please.
are working on a third one, which is gonna go back in time, and I have someone that stepped forward and handed me a bunch of, you and I came in like 2 years ago or so,
Hmm.
and so I have someone that was here 5 years ago. So all the things we missed out on the narrative control,
Right.
someone else has brought me a whole panorama of information on the narrative control before we even got here. So it's pretty yeah, exactly, Aaron. Kentucky is just as bad, if not worse, than Indiana, and that's what I mean. We're learning, and there's something to do with like the occult. There's some occult and meth. Sort of where this occult meets the meth. There's a lot of crime that has happened,
Hmm.
and so yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What's up, Chevy
I'm sure.
Killer? Chevy Killer, what up? What up? What up? And Chris says, "I love you, Silky. Love your sweet, silky Southern voice."
Aw, thank you. Um, yeah, I'm interested in what you're finding out, so you're gonna have to let me know. Um, I am working on, and I know this is like completely off the wall. It's not just another reporting of the same case that you think you know. Um, I am working on a deep project. I don't know how I'm going to present it, whether it'll be a series, if I can get it all in one video. I don't think so. But I am working on the Lizzie Borden case. And I know,
Mhm.
over 130 years old. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, Prof, and I'm going to say something, and I'm going to prove my point. Lizzie Borden was innocent. I know. Everybody's like, what? What? And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. If there had been women allowed on the jury in 1893, well, in 1892, she would have never been brought to trial. But you didn't have that voice that could have explained what's so very obvious to me. Um, so anyway, so y'all who think, and even if you disagree with me, that's fine. So I'm going to be bringing that in sometime in the next couple of weeks, but is such a deep dive that it's taken so many hours. But y'all, if you love vintage crimes, that's what I meant to do, Prof. When I started Silky Southern Tea, it was supposed to be about vintage crimes. Yet here I
I
am.
didn't know that.
Defy.
We learn something every day.
Yeah. So, but that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun for me. That's a passion project. Um, so
Nancy Drews.
what I missed that.
She
Let me get
says there won't be any trolls on that case. All
You're
right.
right. Oh, I don't know. Because, her being guilty is big business. It is big business. And I have a ghost story. Well, it's not a ghost story, it's a paranormal story that is true that goes along with that case. So, Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting, and that's what I'm gonna do. I've decided, Prof. If I'm not talking about Delphi, I'm gonna be doing passion projects,
Hmm.
um, and that is definitely one of them. And I might backtrack on Boys on the Tracks too. So you never know. I know
Heather, Chevy Killer's on the little channel for some reason. She's looking for Chevy. Chevy's on the little ass channel. Heather, go over and catch him. Chevy Killer. Heather wants you. All right.
yeah,
Who's
I
your daddy
appreciate
says, I
y'all.
just watched some on that case. And JR says, I don't expect any last breath confessions or whistleblowers coming out of the woodwork for Abby and Libby. Those who know, and they're fine with it. Well, that's the disappointing part at this moment, I think. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. So, oh, Gretchen says, didn't some new info just come out about that case?
On what case, Lizzie?
Lizzie?
I don't think so. There is a guy that, well, actually, the book that he wrote was years ago, but I just saw it on a video on YouTube, which just added some tidbits to my direction on it. Um, so there you go, Prof. 130 plus years later, there's new information. So who knows?
We,
Uh,
we might be great talking about Delphi.
they'll
Hopefully
be
not.
digging up our old videos and lives. Like, look what they said in 2023, 2024.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
they'll find that one clip of me 30 years before and they'll be like, see, he was wrong.
they'll still be trolling you.
They'll be trolling me and walkers.
Yeah,
Well, y'all, I think we're done. Me and
yeah,
Silky love you, and I love Silky, and Silky loves me, and I think we're all
yes.
just so tired. I'm tired, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I'm hungry and tired.
Tired too. All right, thank y'all for hanging out with us. Let's do it again soon, Prof. I'm trying to figure out where I'm trying to end this, and I can't see. Dadgummit. Hate getting older. Um, I don't even know where my outro is. I have no idea. It's not even loaded up. I'll do my intro again. All right, y'all have a great and wonderful evening. Stay safe out there, especially if
And
you're in
God bless,
Indiana.
and good luck, Silky. I'm glad you missed the bad weather, and we'll
Yeah.
talk.
Sorry I ghosted you during the tornado, but
We
whatever.
need a true crime nursing home, says Nancy Drew. Ah, that's your next $1 million
Oh
idea.
wow, there you go. All right, y'all have a great night and we'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye.